how committed you are in the long term, not about a short-term gratification.
Yeah. But I guess sometimes you get to realize, to have that knowledge later, way after the moment has passed, when you've gathered more wisdom and you've understood.
Well, that's a false attribution bias, as we say. We stop and look at how many people think about writing a book. Millions. How many actually get down to start writing the book? Hundreds of thousands. How many actually finish the book? Thousands. How many actually then publish it? Hundreds. How many actually get the book out there where it sells? 10 people.
Yeah.
That's the reality. So if you got a book published, Alex, that's a great success.
Wow, great.
That's a success.
Thank you. Thanks, John. So now, just moving into, actually, maybe before we move into the financial empowerment part, you talk about everything being neutral. I guess it's linked to what we've talked about before. So just expand a bit of that, because essentially you're saying, whatever happens, if you look at the upsides and the downsides, in the end, everything is just neutral. It's just balanced.
Well, nobody knows. Nobody ever knows all the consequences of any human action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you really know of whatever you've done, how many people have been impacted positively or negatively about it? Nobody knows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What we have is a probabilistic, stochastic interpretation of what's possible. And it comes out 50-50. You got an idea. I can be really dedicated to my mission of teaching, right? And be perseverant in things. And anybody that has similar values to me will look at me and go, he's dedicated, he's perseverant, he's focused, he's disciplined, he's reliable to get that work done and teach and everything else. But you have somebody that has a different value system that thinks about kids and social causes and maybe going to church and things like that. They'll look at me and go, he's pig-headed, he's stubborn, he's inconsistent, he won't do what we think is important. Both of them are true about me. And they'll see what I did positively and negatively. I can't let people's support or challenge, gullibility or skepticism stop me from my mission. I just keep persevering. I chop wood and I carry water and I keep going. And so you can't say that anything is positive or negative until somebody with a value system in a context with a narrow mind labels it and limits it to that context. Now you can label it under that context. But ultimately, think about the things you thought were terrible in your life, and then days, weeks, months, years later, you went back and, God, thank God that occurred. I almost died at 17, right? I was literally unconscious in a tent. I'd vomited, urinated, and defecated in a tent. A lady found me in my tent. Okay? She took me to a health food store, tried to get some fluids in me, led me to a little store. If I hadn't died, I wouldn't have met Paul Bragg, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. There's no doubt about it. We can always look back and we can see, well, that's, I've screwed up because of that event. Or you can look back and go, that's a turning point in my life. It's all perception. It has nothing to do with what's out there. It's your perception of it.
Yeah.
That's why William James said the greatest discovery of his generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their perceptions and attitudes of mind. So I'm not going to label something good or bad. You can make a heaven out of a hell or a hell out of a heaven. And I always say there's, in the mystery of the overall universe, we really don't know. It's an artificial thing that humans have made up. And around the world, as Montaigne and many of others have described, and McIntyre, nobody has a universally ascended value system of morals. Whatever you think is good, somebody else doesn't think so. In South Africa, the president had 9 wives. Zuma had 9 wives. In America, you're put in prison for it. There you're honored as the president. Over here, you're in prison. It depends on what you think. At one time, royalty had incest. That was normal. You kept the royal line. Now you go to jail for it. So smoking once was the coolest thing in the world at one time. Now people are thinking you're an idiot to smoke. So you have to be careful about universally ascended value systems. Better to look at things and use it to your resource instead of getting trapped and boxing it in with a polarity.
Yeah. So essentially, there's no right or wrong. But then what's the role of morality in society? Or is there such thing as morality?
Well, whoever has the power sets the rules. The morality, remember, morality at one time in Catholicism was you're not supposed to eat meat on Friday. And anybody that did, they went to hell. Well, now all the people now it's okay. Now they changed the rules. So all those people that ate meat prior to 1950s, they're all down in the underground. And right, all the people after that, they're fine. So those can change. So whoever's ruling the game, whoever has the power gets to set the rules. Values and moralities always come from those who have the most power to those that have the least power. One's designed by the powerful and ones that are dutied by the unpowerful. And it's all a matter of whether you want to play. If you want to empower yourself, you can change the rules.
Yeah.
You can change the rules. I mean, look at one time, homosexuality was quiet. Now people, it's the thing, and transgender's becoming average. So you find out the things that you once condemned, you find out there's a deeper meaning behind it. So I'd rather not jump to the conclusion of something. I'd rather see it as neither good nor evil, and it's my own limited view to make it good or evil.
Good or evil. Wow. Thanks for that, John. Now, just getting into the sort of...
Wait, Alex, if I videotape you 24 hours a day for a 1-year period, and then edited it, I could make a hero or a villain, a saint or a sinner. I could make virtue or vice out of my edits, couldn't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a nice person. I'm not a mean person. I'm not kind. I'm not cruel. I'm all the above.
Yeah.
I'm a human being with every trait. I've gone through 4,628 traits in the Oxford Dictionary. I found out I had every one of them. I'm honest. I'm dishonest at times. I'm kind. I'm cruel. So whatever you say about me, in some context, it's been true.
Yeah. It's just that I guess we tend to display some qualities more than others at different times.
No. We hide those with repression until somebody pushes our button and out comes that expression.
Yeah, I see. I guess that's why you'll find some people who people see as quiet, or they never get angry, and at some point it's just a big explosion.
Then they explode. 3 months worth of explosion.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't. All the heroes have a villain inside. All the villains have a hero inside. Nietzsche said that I'm the most violent, I'm most virtuous, and and Machiavelli said I have to play both sides. What do you think a president has to do? He can't be one-sided. He has to be both-sided.
Yeah.
Because the spectrum of values across the world are complementary opposites, and there's a law that governs them called the law of heuristic escalation. And whenever somebody goes and promotes something of one side, people with the opposite side comes in to challenge it. That's the game of life. That's what makes us grow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we take ourselves we get proud of thinking we're somebody only to get humbled. I take no credit, take no blame, just keep focused on the chief aim. And the chief aim in the name of the game is thank you, I love you.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, John. Now, talking about financial empowerment, actually, I guess this is probably linked to the 7 areas of life, and this is one of them. So, what do you think is the things that the world's richest people who succeed in making themselves financially independent, what is it that they know that others don't?
Well, my observation when I'm in front of thousands of people and ask how many want to be financially independent, everybody hands go up, every feet go up, elbows, knees, noses go up. Everybody wants to be financially independent, they think. But I found it's only in less than 1%. Why? Most people think that financial independence is living the lifestyles of the rich and famous. And it's about consuming and buying and having yachts and cars and stuff. And that's actually not financial independence. That's vanity and, in a sense, dependency. And that's basically being trapped by cost. Very few people actually have a value on wealth building and actually think long term and buy assets that work for them and put their money into things that actually provide money back to them with a return on investment instead of cost. And most people buy immediate gratifying consumables that depreciate in value. You know, as you buy clothes and fill up a house in a closet, that closet is going down in value. It's just full of stuff that goes down in value over time. But if that's your whole life and you're living beyond your means and not thinking about prioritizing what you're buying and buying things that go up in value, people that really value wealth building buy things that go up in value until a small portion of all the assets they accumulate can give them a lifestyle that escalates over time, and they crescendo as they go through life, not decrescendo. Most people that live over their means will end up having a declining life as they get older, not an inclining life. And that's because they had immediate gratification and they bought things that went down in values. And that's a reflection of your own image of yourself. If you value yourself and you value serving people and you value what wealth represents, you're going to want to put your money into prioritized things that go up in value so it works for you, so that you're its master, not its slave.
Wow. Okay. And then how can we dissolve these sort of unconscious blocks to understand that we need to pursue activities that are in line with our values, to have the discipline and avoid all the distractions and all those?
Well, first, finding out what your values are is crucial. On my website, drdemartini.com, there's a complimentary value determination process. They're free. It's private. It takes 30 minutes of your time. It's a gold mine to do. Take the time to do it if you're listening, because it's worth doing. And then once you look at it, you kind of go, you know what? No wonder I'm not financially independent. I don't even have wealth building in my highest four values. My observation, I've taken the value determination on thousands of people. And I'm certain that if it's not in the top four, financial independence isn't going to occur, because you're going to keep buying things that you value. Your hierarchy of values dictates how you spend your money. And if you have a higher value on traveling than you do on investing, you're going to take money when you get it and you're going to go travel. If you have a value on buying clothes than investing, you're going to go buy clothes. Whatever you have that's higher on your list is where your money's going to go. Whatever's lower on your list, you're not going to have money for. So your hierarchy of values dictates your financial destiny. So finding out what your values are first and where wealth building is in there is the first eye awakening. You go, whoa, no wonder I'm where I'm at financially. And then you either have to go and raise the value of wealth building, or otherwise it's not going to happen, and lower the shame factor. A lot of people feel guilty and shameful over actions when they're not living up to the ideals of society, trying to conform, and it self-depreciates them. And that automatically puts them in an altruistic thing that makes them feel bad, self-depreciative. And then they go buy other people's brands to feel better about themselves, but it's only transient at best. And they get further into debt, and then they get feeling even more down. And then they go buy again, and it gets caught in an amygdala cycle of spending instead of investing. You want to invest your money into something that serves ever greater numbers of people in quality managed companies that actually make a difference in the world. And you'll be rewarded with those shares with interest compounded over time and dividends if you leave it there and just allow it to serve people. I started doing that 40 years ago. I'm very financially well off because of that dynamic today. And I learned to just take a portion of what I have, live beneath my means, and put it away. And now my money's making way more money than I do working. Way more money. So now I get to do what I love doing without having to do it. And that's what I call financial freedom.
Financial freedom. So essentially, success and financial freedom can be predicted.
Oh, we can actually, if we structure it, I've taken many of my students and structured their finances, automated their savings and investments, automated how they're doing it, and then they go focus on serving people and generating the business. That's it. Focus on caring about people. And let the thing be structured. And once it's structured, you have a tremendous amount of predictability you can add to finances. It's not rocket science. It's not that hard even. It's just structuring it. And once you do, and being patient, it just compounds. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, as Einstein said. It's one of the most magnificent things that just gets skyrocketing over time.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Great. Now, talk us through the 7 areas of life, because obviously, and how is there one that's more important than the other, or how you should actually work on which ones first until you
there's no should
empowerment in all of
there's
them.
No should. Should is subordinating to somebody else's value system. I don't live by shoulds. I don't live with shoulds, ought to, supposed to, got to, have to, must, need to. I live by what is it I would love to do, how do I delegate everything else, and live an inspired life. So each of us have a unique set of values. Some of us are dedicated to inspired spiritual pathways, whatever that may be. Some are dedicated to mental academic pursuits. Some are developing businesses. Some are wealth builders. Some are family creators. Some are social, political leaders and social impactors and musicians and things. Some are physical fitness and health and Olympic medalist oriented. None of them are right. None of them are wrong. But whatever's true to that individual, that's their path. That's their mission in life. But if learning the art of communicating what's inspiring to you in terms of what's inspiring to them is what opens the doorway to be remunerated, filling their values with yours. That's the key, and having equity on that. Putting people on pedestals or putting people in pits isn't the solution. Putting them in your arts and having respectful, sustainable, fair exchange with them is what builds wealth and builds fulfillment.
Yeah. But then is it enough? If you look across the 7 areas of life, if your values are aligned to only one of those? Is it enough to just pursue that one and ignore the other 6?
Well, when you're pursuing what's really, really important to you, that doesn't mean you have to do it at the exclusion of everything else. When I'm traveling and teaching, I do seminars. In there, I'm doing my social life. In there, I'm doing my business. In there, I'm making my income. In there, I'm inspiring people. In there, I'm using mine to stimulate my intellectual. In some respects, it's like family extensions. I'm learning and interacting, and it's helping in my family dynamic. It's social, and it's something I love doing, which is helping my health. If you see how all areas are being impacted by what you feel is most important, nothing's not happening. It's all happening.
It's all happening, yeah, including the spiritual and everything.
Yeah, I mean, spirituality, don't subordinate to some religious dogma and institutional structure. That's not what spirituality is. That's just one form of it.